very happy to host you today again. There are a few people that were our fans of this webinar from the early beginning to today. We are very thankful for that. Hi to Carlos, Lard, and Stefan. We are very happy that you are here with us today.
We will wait 1 minute longer for more people to come.
And we will start our webinar about savings on lighting upgrade, or how much you can save on LED replacement of the standard traditional luminaires. So this is the topic for today. I think we can start already. So the rules of the webinar, as always, you can use the chat. The chat is on your right side on the window. You can look it up. Yes. Hi, Stefan. Stefan knows how to use the chat. You should know it as well. We will play one video with our case study, so you can turn off or turn up the volume as you wish. We will answer your questions on the go or at the end. It depends how many of them there will be. On our Polish webinar just a second ago, there were so many questions, and that even though our webinar was scheduled for 30-40 minutes maximum, it took us exactly 58 minutes altogether. So go ahead, ask questions in the chat. Don't hesitate. We are here to answer all your questions. We will try to answer today the questions of how does luminous efficacy affect investment. We will compare the standard luminaire to really high efficiency luminaire, how you should compare those luminaires, where you should look at the value of them. We will show a case study, and we will talk about the TCO versus ROI, so return on investment versus the total cost of ownership. This is the topic that we are continuing actually talking about, because our webinar was about what is the influence of light quality on the well-being and comfort and productivity of employees and workers in the production sites. So this is also somehow connected to the last topic, and we'll talk about a little bit about the impact of the savings on environment, how to calculate it, and is it worth calculating it?
Exactly.
So let's jump into the topics.
Okay, so I did a small comparison. For the clarity of it, I used two luminaires from our portfolio. One is industrial LED basic, the second one is industrial LED 6.0. Basic series is our standard, let's say low efficacy, cheaper price version of the hermetic light that replaces fluorescent tube lamps. Industrial LED 6.0, this is our premium series with efficacy of 180 lumens per watt. It is slightly more expensive. Forgive that we use our Polish currency in here. And
divided into four and a half. Oh, we are back.
Okay,
sorry for this interruption. That was not the internet. That was actually the camera.
Yeah, it's slightly overheated, so sorry for that.
But we are back.
Exactly, we are back. So, going back to the topic, for the clarity, I also used a 5-year warranty models. So the basic series comes in 3 or 5-year warranty options. 5-year warranty is slightly more expensive than the 3-year warranty, but for the comparison of ROI and TCO, we needed the same amount of time to be considered. So 5-year warranty for both of the products. And as you can see, based on the price alone, and basically the same lumen output, there's a 50 lumen difference between the two, and the light distribution is exactly the same. So doing the lighting project, you can assume that you will use exactly the same amount of luminaries from the basic series and from the 6.0 series. So at the first glance, you see that the basic series is 17% cheaper. So if you use the same amount of luminaries with the same placement, and if you add the cost of purchase of the lamps and the cost of installation, your investment will be 17% cheaper with the basic series than with the more expensive, more premium, high efficacy version at a first glance in one-to-one replacement. But there is a little trick with that, and we will show it to you why it's more cost effective to use higher efficacy solutions that at the first glance seem to be more expensive in purchase costs, but have better value in return over time in the next stages. Another one is, this is the view of the calculation. I did a little trick. So I assumed that somebody already has LED installation that is few years old. For this example, I used the industrial basic because its 137 lumens per watt efficacy is on par with the products that were present on the market 5 years ago, which were one of the best products at that time. So let's assume that somebody already had LED lighting that, well, let's say was used for a period of 5 years, warranty ended, and the customer thinks what to do with it, either to upgrade it or leave it like it is. So I assumed that we are upgrading the existing installation with industrial basic to our latest industrial 6.0 with higher efficacy. So for the simplicity, we use the same amount of lamps and we calculate only the cost of the lamps itself without the installation. So with that alone and assumed working time of 4,576 hours per year, we get 1.78 years of ROI and 4,500 PLN or zloty, Polish zloty.
Well, exactly 1,000 euro.
Yeah, and 1,000 euro of the savings on energy consumption. So even changing the already existing LED installation for higher efficacy can be done with a very fast, very attractive ROI. This is less than 2 years. So this is very attractive, and on this scale, you still get quite nice amount of energy cost savings with that.
And what is important is that most of the LED installations were done throughout 2010. That was the early beginnings. Only really the innovator companies were implementing LEDs at that time, but you can find a lot of installations done throughout 2012, 2015. So if you take into consideration this time, they have already passed 5 to 8 years of life, and the warranties have ended for sure. So it's easy to say that we can go back to those clients and give them an opportunity to make another installation of LED lighting and another replacement, and make Okay, we had to switch
to the backup camera. Sorry, apparently it's too hot today already for the main camera and it overheats.
But we are back. We were talking about the possibility of going back to the customers, to the clients, and replacing already installed LED lighting that has been done throughout 2010, 2015, 16, even 17. If the warranty has finished, then it has a lot of sense to go back to the client. So we always suggest the clients that as long as they have a warranty for the lighting system, they should finish using it within the warranty, finish the returns on investment to capitalize on these investments. And after the warranty finishes, then we can start this installation anew. And we have here another comparison of two luminaires of Industrial Basic and Industrial LED 6.0.
Yes, so again, for the simplicity of calculation, previously I showed you the comparison of the initial cost of investment between the cheaper, less efficient model of the luminary and more expensive, super high efficacy luminary model. This time I've done a simple calculation where I assumed that a customer has a choice. He has an installation of fluorescent lighting with 2 times 80 watt fluorescent tubes, and he uses 118 pieces of these lamps. Total efficacy 56 lumens per watt. No cost because he already has that except for the energy cost. And then we can do comparison of two investments. First investment will be done with the Industrial LED Basic, with slightly higher lumen output at close to 12,000 lumens and much lower power consumption and thus higher efficacy of 137 lumens per watt. We could decrease the number of luminaries to 100 pieces to achieve exactly the same light intensity on the work surface. Now, with the 100 pieces at the price of 401 PLN, we got an ROI of 1.79 year. And there are two other things to consider for that. There is the annual energy cost savings. So with this 137 lumen per watt luminary, you save yearly 27,000 PLN on energy or euro. You can replace that with the euro, dollar, whatever you need for that. And the total energy cost savings over the 5-year period minus the cost of investment, so the cost that you have to wait until you have the ROI finished, is 86,782 PLN. Now, to compare that, so this total energy cost savings, this is the money that stays with you, stays with the company, stays with the customer. Now, let's compare this to the Industrial LED 6.0, which has 180 lumens per watt, is 17% more expensive than the industrial LED basic. So your initial cost of investment is higher, but because you have now over 31,611 PLN of annual energy cost savings, you have shorter return on investment. So this is 1.53 years right now. And because of that increased annual energy savings, your total energy cost savings over the period of 5 years minus the cost of investment is almost 110,000 PLN. So that's basically 23,000 PLN more, which is 25% better. So after 5 years of using this more premium lighting solution, you basically have 25% more savings on your account or your customer. And this basically goes well with the philosophy of our company, where we rather want to offer the client, the customer, a product that is slightly more expensive, but has the very best, highest efficacy possible for that segment on the market, because in terms of investment, it will be better for earnings, for savings for that customer, than buying a product that is very cheap but has very low efficacy. You can buy even cheaper products that have 100 lumens per watt of efficacy or 120, and this ROI will be 2 years, more than 2 years, and you will not get as much of an annual energy cost savings with these solutions. So for us, it's better to provide you with higher efficacy product with slightly higher price than the standard or low efficacy product with lower price.
And what is important here is that you take the industrial basic is pretty good product. So if you take, let's say, luminaire, you will have 110 lumen, 120 lumen per watt, 2 years warranty. So the total, the ROI that you will calculate cannot be for 5 years because your warranty is for 2 years. So the distance between the guaranteed savings on a basic product, not industrial basic, but the economical solution on the market, compared to industrial LED 6.0 will be even bigger. And with industrial LED 6.0, you can actually take the warranty up to 5, 6, 7, even 8 years and extend it even with difficult environments. And then the real savings within the warranty term are even bigger. Here what you can see, the savings per 1 year are 21,000 zloty, which is, let's say, 5,000 euro. So the client saves 5,000 euro every single year. And then if you calculate it within the years of warranty, you will get the difference. So it's really easy to compare cheap product with 2 years warranty and our great product with 5 to 7, 8 years warranties, and you will get the difference. And I'm not even talking about right now the quality of light. I'm not even talking about number of failures the standard products on the market have. I'm not talking about how it affects the human beings. How does it affect the productivity of employees? If you compare the cheap quality or our quality luminaires. So that's why we are doing this webinar today. That's why we want to draw your attention to how to calculate the ROI and how to calculate the TCO, because the TCO, we'll talk about it in a moment, is something that we really have to look into. And right now we would like to show you one of our case studies. This is LG Dongkyang in Poland. You can turn up or turn off the volume as you wish throughout. Oops, sorry. We have not the right, this is it. Kamil. We have not the correct movie here. Oh, you cannot do it. Sorry. 1 second, please. We need to update the proper movie because we have the further presentation about it. Kamil. One moment, please. Since we are waiting for the proper movie, we can.
Oh, yes.
It's updated.
Teraz się na pewno.
You can turn off the volume yourself. So this is the movie from 𝐿𝐺 several production halls.
Dzień dobry, nazywam się Roman Budny. W firmie 𝐲𝐸 zajmuję się działem dystrybucji wodopłatu. Po doświadczeniu naszych kolegów w szkole zdecydowaliśmy się na modernizację oświetlenia w hali magazynowej we Wrocławiu.
So you can see the high base at the LG.
Industrial LED. This is the 5.0.
The 6.0 is a little bit different, as you know. And this is electronics production, TVs and other home appliances. Very nice case study because we've done 5 or 6 production halls and logistic halls all together. A pretty big investment. And what is important, and we'll talk about it later, is that we not only replace the lighting and to guarantee the clients the fuel savings, but we also increase the efficiency and we increase the light output by 2 or 3 times in some sections and areas. So that's really a lot of additional light for comfort and safety of production. Okay, we can go back to the presentation. So for LG, we saved 230,000 euros within 5 years, but this is only return on investment. This is not TCO. We will talk about it later, but this is only return on investment. 230,000 euros per 5 years. We reduced the energy consumption by 3 times, and the ROI is 1.5 years. So usually within the industry and logistics, everything that is below 1 year, it's extraordinary good investment, and usually the production manager, the facility manager doesn't wait for that investment. They just go ahead. 1 to 3 years, this is something they have to plan either for this or next year. 1.5 years, it's really good return on investment. But as I told you, this is only ROI. And we'll tell you later what is the difference between ROI and TCO and why you should calculate TCO, because it's much, much bigger and much more important for the clients. So what we see here also is that we reduced the energy consumption from 106 kilowatts to 30 kilowatts, so 72% of savings. That's really huge. and it actually sums up to a reduction of 382 tons of CO2 emissions. So that's a really huge savings. This is the equivalent of 89 cars emissions per year, like 382 tons of CO2. This is what yearly 89 cars can save up. So not only saving a lot of energy, but saving a lot of CO2 emissions to the environment. That's really important, and we should calculate this to our clients every single time. I think everybody is more environmental aware recently, so this is also a big impact on our environment, and we should consider this calculation and add to our calculations.
Yes, this is another example of a calculation done for one of our customers, where when we replaced existing lighting that was based on fluorescent tubes and metal halide high base to our own LED lighting. So again, we reduced energy consumption 3 times. So from 30 kilowatt hours to less than 10 kilowatt hours per day. We have generated almost 30,000 PLN of savings on energy costs per year for the customer. And in this particular investment, the ROI was 2.5 years maximum. Yes, so this was again accepted by the customer. This one includes the cost of installation. So this is not only the cost of the luminaries. So that is also important, that to do the good ROI calculation, you have to calculate cost of installation, automation, programming, and setting the things up, and of course the luminaries itself.
So with ROI, you take the full cost of the investment besides emergency lighting, because emergency lighting you cannot save on it. This is something that is required to meet the safety standards of the object, of the facility. So you cannot add either the cost of luminaires nor the cost of installation of emergency lighting. This is a separate topic. It cannot be included within the investment. This is a separate thing. So, but the rest of the investment should be included in the ROI. So what is the key difference between ROI and TCO, and why we should implement TCO calculations for the client?
Okay, so these are the definitions that can be found on the internet. So the definition for the TCO, so total cost of ownership, is the equation that sums up the cost of investment, so the cost of luminaries and installation, then the operational costs, so cost of electrical energy that you have to pay to use this lighting throughout the year, a maintenance cost, so the cost of cleaning the luminaries. For the LED luminaries, maintenance costs are very low. Sometimes there are even close to zero, because with the traditional lighting you had to change lamps, check the luminary status, are they working, are the fluorescent tubes okay, etc. Today, if you, for example, take into account installation with intelligent luminaries, so the DALI, where you can have the flags that will give you the information that luminary stopped working or the light source is used up, you don't have to waste time and energy and money on manually checking the luminaries. You can have this automation, so the maintenance costs grows very little with the upgraded lighting. And there is the R parameter. This is the general definition of TCO. So the R parameter is the residual value. For lighting, this doesn't make any use for us, because the residual value parameter is for other equipment that you can resell.
So with
later,
with LED lighting, it's really tricky. If you do the investments, usually with financing, the bank wants to know the residual value of the product, and it's very difficult to calculate because after 5 years, you actually barely can sell out, resell the existing lighting that were used. It's very difficult. Some companies do it, it's possible, but it's rather the value for the company. So if they have another production hall and they want to move it from one part to another, then you can calculate this residual value. But basically, it's very difficult to persuade the clients to calculate the residual value of the luminaires at the end of the investment. But what you have to calculate is the real operating costs, the maintenance costs. So what we do for our clients is we always give them this service. Hello, can you hear us and can you see us? We have today webinar is not lucky with the technical issues. Yes, okay. Thanks. So what you have to calculate within TCO is you have to calculate the total cost of ownership. So if your client wants, and we do it for our end customers in Poland, we give them also the service. So once a year we check the lumens, the luxes on the floor. We check if everything is correct. We clean and wipe the luminaires so they can operate 100% without any dust that they got throughout the year of usage. And one yearly servicing is the minimum what we implement within our offer for end customers. This is an option for meeting the client every year and checking up if everything is okay. If there are some issues, you can act on the place, on the site, replace one luminaire or some accessories that have to be replaced right away. This is a good solution that we really use here in Poland with end customers, and we recommend for you to include servicing fees within your offers. But what you should also implement with TCO is what we talk about throughout the last webinar. So the influence of on the people, on employees, on the workers, on the production side or in warehouses. So if the lighting improves our productivity, if it saves us some resources, if it saves any failures or accidents on the floor, then we should implement it within our TCO. And this is additional value that the client should take into consideration. Of course, it's very difficult to calculate it. Usually clients let us do only ROI, and this is something that they focus on. So we should, what we do right now with our customers is after implementation, we get back to the client within 2 to 3 months, and we look at the indicators additional above standard ROI. And we go back to the calculation and we talk to them about what they gained within productivity, failures, accidents, and so on. And then the client is aware how much the light really affected their facilities, their working, the productivity of entire floor. So this is really important. If you do it after implementation, you will find out that the client is much more willing to do further installations and further works with your company. And this is something very, very important to do. And large thanks to you and the call to you with you 2 months ago or a month ago, what we discussed together becomes a standard within our company. So we wanted to also share it with you, and it really works well. So right now, for example, we are finishing a pretty big installation within one of the European leaders of wooden windows. This is an investment worth almost 1 million euro, and we got back to the client throughout the implementation, and they said that thanks to new lighting, they increased by 900% the quality control indicators for checking out what's the quality of the wood of the windows. We were mentioning it last time, but I think it's worth getting back to this information because it's really important.
And of course, we didn't say about the ROI, because for us the ROI is in years, but it can also be in the percent. So the definition that you will most likely find in the web, it will be the definition where you have a difference between the total benefits minus total costs over the total costs. So this is the percent type of ROI. We are more interested in the time ROI. So we just divide the total cost of investment over the savings, yearly savings. That way we can calculate how fast we can get our money from the investment installation. So now let's talk about the information about the TCO. So again, previous example of calculation, industrial LED basic series and industrial LED 6.0. One is cheaper one with lower efficacy, other one is more expensive with premium efficacy. We have the same amount of warranty, the same amount of lamps. And now let's compare this. So both of these have very attractive ROI. One is 1.79, another one is 1.53. So if the customer would look only on the ROI and the cost of investment, then he would say that, okay, for me, the difference in the investment that I have to make at the beginning, so he may not want to pay 17% extra for the investment in the beginning to get, for example, a difference of 0.3 euro of investment, because these two values are similar, they are very attractive. But you can see the investment cost is 40,000 to over 48,000 Polish zloty. But if we look at the annual energy costs that you have to pay, so this is not the energy saving, this is the actual energy cost that you have to pay to use that particular lighting system for a year. So with the lower efficacy, you pay almost 20,000 PLN. With the better efficacy, you pay 25% less for the energy every year. So the TCO in this case, which we over a 5-year period, which you calculate as the sum of the initial investment cost and the 5-year energy cost, for the simplicity. As you can see, the cheaper one with 40,000 PLN of investment cost, over a period of 5 years, your TCO is 138,000 PLN. With the more expensive luminary, that will cost you 17% more at the beginning. After the same period of time, you are less than 124,000 PLN in TCO value. So for you, despite the 17% higher cost of the investment at the beginning, a total cost of ownership over a 5-year, so a full warranty period for this product, will be lower. This is lower by 15,000, basically. Yes, by 15,000 PLN. So, but with this, you can say that, okay, if my TCO is lower, then it's better for me because I spent less money in the 5-year period to own and use this lighting system, which means that this difference can be added to the revenue of the company. So this is why the ROI is not everything. The TCO is something that you have to add. And of course, if we extend the warranty for the industrial LED 6.0, let's say to 8 years, then we would have to change the calculation. But within the 8-year period for the premium series, the industrial LED basic probably would have to be replaced at least once. So you have the 260 or 70,000 PLN TCO over a period of 8 years with the industrial LED basic, compared to, let's say, around 200,000 with the industrial LED 6.0 proportional.
Anyways, industrial LED basic, as we told you, is our economic budget product, but still much ahead of budget products on the market. So if you compare industrial LED basic to very basic product on the market, then you can do the same calculation, and it will show you that the ROI is still much better on basic than just very, very cheap product on the market. And the same between basic and industrial LED. Extending another 1, 2, 3 years of warranty gives you an additional savings, and this is way to go. This is how the client really can save a lot. And of course, as I told you, the TCO should also include all the productivity increases, all the additional value that the client gets throughout entire time of using the solution. And that's really a lot of money. So taking into consideration at least our client with the window making facilities, you will find out that increasing only one indicator, such as quality control, how fast they do it and how precise, then you can save up on materials, on components, huge money. And the TCO then actually blows up, because the client finds out that the savings on energy is almost nothing compared to the total cost of ownership of new, better lighting solution.
Yes, and the last parameter, this is how can you measure the environmental impact of upgraded LED lighting or any kind of energy consumption device that you can upgrade to a better one. This is very specific for Polish market. This is the You have to download this kind of information for
your own country, for every country, because every country has a different structure of producing energy. Exactly. And let's say Poland produces like 80-90% of the energy from coal. Germany, or let's say France, uses a lot of nuclear power. So, and Germany uses quite a lot of photovoltaics and wind energy right now. So you have to really look at the structure, how the energy in each country is produced, and they then take the average calculation for the particles emissions into environment.
Yeah. So basically, you have
what you can see here is Polish structure, how Polish structure of energy production influences the
production of CO2, basically.
CO2 or SOx or NOx, the total emissions that pollute our environment. So as you can see, you have the kilos per megawatt hour, and that's really a lot. So for every megawatt, you get in Poland 765 kilos of CO2 emissions, including all other really bad pollutants for the environment. And it's really so easy to save on those emissions, making lighting installation. This is one of the easiest and fastest investments to cut on CO2 emissions. And it also, depending on the countries, in Poland, we also have this additional called white certificates. This is for all entire Europe, but in Poland it's called white certificates. So for every single facility that cuts on the CO2 emissions, they get payment for that, and they get this white certificate that states that they saved so much of CO2 emissions into environment, into the air. So not only we help the clients save a lot on energy, we help increase the productivity, and then other indicators that really drive huge savings and huge increases in returns for the company. But we also help to reduce pollutions and CO2 emissions into the environment. That's it from our side. If you have any questions, please let us know right now in the comment section.
We have quite a lot of time, so
yeah,
ask away.
If you have any questions, go ahead. We can ask it right now. If there are no questions today, then thank you very much for. Oh, there is one question coming. Let's wait a little bit. So overall, it's very important for you and your teams to use the savings calculations, ROI calculations, TCO calculations, CO2 emission calculations, and this is actually the instruments that you should work on every single project. This is how we work. This is where you get the arguments for the client, the real arguments and benefits for the clients. So if they see how much they can save, how much they can earn on this investment, this is the best way to go. All right. What is the Lux level warranty? Yes, we give the Lux level warranty actually.
Basically, every kind of Lux, it depends on your project and application, but if you need a, let's say, 5-year, 8-year, 7-year, 9-year warranty for the light intensity on workplace, depending on the conditions, depending on the luminary that we choose, and depending on the project, we can evaluate that and give it to you with the written.
So what we always do for the end customers in Poland is that we come to them, we give the warranty with the Lux level warranty, always. It means actually we don't sell to the clients the luminaires or the installation or the system. We sell this total savings that we came to agree with the customer. So let's say we do the calculations and then it says that the ROI is, let's say, within 1.5 years, and they save 1 million zloty, so 230,000 euro per 5 years. And we actually, for our end customers, we included in our offer that we guarantee them 230,000 euro within 5 years. This is what we agree with them on. For the project, and if it's not met, if they don't have those savings, we sometimes even are able to give them back the money. So what you have to do with the customers in Europe is the same. Take the calculations, take the cost of installation, guarantee the Lux level that we guarantee to you, and then actually guarantee them how much money they will make within this installation. Yes, Vicky, you are right. This is what we have to do. We have to set a Lux level for warranty to include the annual service fee. That's correct, and this is what we do. Yeah, great, Vicky, for this link. Electricity map, Lart. Thanks, Lart. This is a really nice interactive map. We will use it and share it further. I think it's very interesting. All right, so thank you very much for this for this webinar. Talk to you later. This was the last webinar. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube and LinkedIn. We will update you with new webinars in August, and we will start next session of webinars in September. We will have at least one webinar per month, so at least 4 new webinars till the end of the year. If you have any ideas, any suggestions, what kind of webinars, what topics we should cover, please let us know. Thank you very much. Talk to you later. Bye.
Goodbye.